Many Amazon sellers waste hours on PPC tasks that should be automated. In this video, you will learn how to use MerchJar's AI Copilot to automate your advertising workflows, implement advanced bid strategies, and convert repetitive manual work into scalable automation templates that free up time and boost performance. If you want to try MerchJar yourself, you'll find the link below in the video description.
Hello, Cameron. Welcome back to Klik YouTube channel. I'm happy to see you here because today you're going to introduce a smart PPC assistant called AI Copilot, which you have within MerchJar for sellers to help analyze Amazon ads and to make data-driven decisions without actually needing an expensive agency. Before we go into the tool and the feature, could you first introduce yourself and also give us an overview of what is MerchJar and how do you usually help Amazon sellers?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Cameron Scott. I'm one of the founders of MerchJar, and we wanted to build a tool that gave you more control over your advertising and was more transparent than these other AI tools that are on the marketplace. And that's how we came up with MerchJar and our AI Copilot that acts as more as a helper, not just manages your ads for you in a black box. So it's all about control and transparency and being able to have a little bit more complexity and sophistication when it comes to those advanced PPCers out there that are looking for more from their tools.
Mm-hmm. And probably the best way to understand what it is, what we can do with it, and how our viewers could potentially benefit from it is to have you share your screen and actually show us what it is and kind of explain us the main things we should know, what are the main benefits, or just to imagine maybe yourself for a second, if you're a seller who doesn't have an access to it yet, how would life then be and how would life be if they would have access to it?
Let me start with what you actually want from an Amazon tool. It's a short list of what to fix today and why. What we're looking at here is a segment of all of our search terms. It's a short list of the search terms. This segment we're calling search term waste, and it's scanning through every single search term on this account. And right now it's shortlisted 375 items that are, the idea behind this one is wasting spend. And this is one of the parts that a lot of tools miss is it tells you every single row, it tells you why it's here. 0 orders, met the click threshold, high clicks, exceeds click per order limit. It explains everything. It's not a mystery list. So instead of having to dig through reports, try to find what's not working, what's wasting spend, the waste comes to you. It's with an explanation so you know exactly what's going on and why. And today I'm going to show you how we use our AI Copilot to build these kinds of shortlists in seconds and then turns them into automated workflows without giving up any kind of control to black box AIs. And if you know Amazon ads, you kind of know the loop. You pull reports, you hunt through all the data, try to find, the keywords that you need to make changes to. And then the next week you do it all over again. Different keywords and search terms, but the same problems. And the hard part's not really knowing what to do. It's doing it consistently, finding it fast without having to rebuild this analysis week to week. And there's really 3 ways that you can manage this now. First one's just using Amazon's own tools and spreadsheets. It's free, which is great, but you're having to stitch together all your different spreadsheets and pull reports, waiting on those to generate. It's just very time-consuming manual work, and it's difficult to scale across, if you're a brand, different marketplaces and accounts, or if you're an agency, across all your different clients that you manage. And you often miss optimizations. It's kind of left up to the account manager. If you have several account managers on your brand, there's going to be inconsistencies between them. And then next is our rule-based automation tools. And this is going to be what a lot of those tools out there that you're familiar with, where it's this if this, then that type of automation. If ACoS is high, then lower bids, X amount, which this is a good step up from the manual spreadsheets. It saves you some time. It has this familiar structure that most of us have used elsewhere with creating these simple rules. But as soon as you want to get into any kind of nuance or more advanced strategies, they tend to fall apart. The rules are just really rigid. You'd have limited flexibility in how you can manage those rules. And so they just lack that nuance for those advanced strategies and really fall apart when you need something a little bit more sophisticated. And then over the last few years, what we've seen across the board across every industry is just AI automation. So very little setup, just kind of, here's my ads, manage my bids, budgets, whatever else that they can do. And there's some great things with that. When it's working, it's fantastic. It, adapts to change in performance. But there's some downsides with, we've all worked with AI where it, hallucinates or it, maybe gets confused, especially if it's working with large data sets. It can struggle when there's a lot of data, which I think everyone working with Amazon ads can attest. There's a lot of data that comes with that, huge reports and spreadsheets. So it can be a lot for it to handle. So it can be a little bit unpredictable at scale and really hard to audit and tune. Like I said, it's great when those AI automations are doing what they're supposed to until you kind of just disagree with a decision that it's made. Then it can be hard to audit that or even adjust that AI to get it working with how you want to manage your ads. So you're either doing the work yourself or you're giving up control. And that's why we built Mershar, so you don't have to choose. Okay, now getting back to Mershar. The core of Mershar is segments, just like the one we saw just a minute ago, our search term waste segment. Segments are slices of your advertising data. They're how you turn your advertising data into these living, so that you spend less time searching, more time working on strategy and making decisions. Not more dashboards, clear answers of what needs attention now, what to ignore, and why each item made the list. And this isn't static. This is a living short list of, in this case, search terms. This segment stays saved, but it's going to update this list of search terms as the performance changes. So the problems surface automatically. And then from there, we can add a workflow, choose our actions. In this case, creating exact match negative, but it could be adjusting bids or budgets, pausing keywords and targets. And we can run these manually at first, or even schedule these once per day or on a certain schedule. Once you trust that it's running how you prefer it, you trust the logic, and you even set limits and exclusions within that. So this is kind of the building block of Mershar. And I want to touch on this before we jump into the AI, because this is kind of how it all comes together. And with these segments, even if you're good at PPC, Amazon PPC, turning that strategy that you have in your head into something that's consistent, that you're doing every week consistently, that's really the hard part. A lot of it is more of just the constant tedious actions that we're making over and over. We're doing a lot of the same things. And that's where we have our template library. So these are going to be proven segments. These are pre-built decision systems that you can deploy on your account in what would normally take hours to do this type of analysis, all in minutes across all of your ad accounts. And these work off of our segment logic. So instead of like a simple rule-based tool where if ACoS is high, then do this, these templates bring in really sophisticated logic, such as minimum data requirements, multiple time windows, cooldown periods, so you're not changing bids too often, bid adjustments that scale based on how far from target the performance is. So very sophisticated logic versus these simple rule-based tools. And once you deploy a few templates, like our core templates that we recommend that are going to automate most of your weekly workflow in just a few templates, you're going to get output like 375 search terms to negate, or 28 keywords that need bids adjusted, or 18 different budgets that need to be adjusted as well based on the logic that's driving these segments. It's not a wall of data. It gives you that short list that you can act upon right away. So if you're looking for an easy button, our core templates right out of the box, it makes it super easy to automate most of the things you're doing. And now I want to jump into, with the segment, what makes us different from what we've talked about, the rule-based automation and our black box AI tools. And it's the logic that drives these. Every segment runs on this logic decision layer. It's logic that you can see, you can inspect it, you can make adjustments to it, so you can trust it. All of them start with simple settings at the top that we can modify with built-in safeguards like campaign exclusions or cooldown periods or certain limits. For example, with this one, a safeguard on the number of orders, so it's never going to negate search terms that have been driving sales, or you can treat them differently. And because this is a sandbox type of environment, we can express really sophisticated types of strategy that rule-based engines really can't handle. So things like multiple time frame windows or performing complex calculations. You can even create your own custom properties. So you can tune it to exactly what your business needs, your targets, your thresholds, your SOPs, without having to rebuild all from scratch. And you don't need to actually write any of this. This is why we have our template library that's growing. And then we have our AI Copilot that can write this for you. But the point of this is that I want to show is that it's built on a sophisticated logic, but it's not just about transparency, being able to see exactly what's driving decisions, but it's also reliability. You can see exactly what happens, why it chooses why it shows each row before anything runs with simple diagnostics, and every result explains itself. So if you're a brand, you're understanding exactly what's happening in your account, or you can explain it to your boss that's asking you why things are happening in your account. Or if you're managing accounts for clients, you can explain and justify these changes to your clients without guessing or saying that the AI did this, we don't know why. You know exactly what's going on behind every decision in your account at all times before you even run any decisions, before we schedule these automations. And if you do book a demo with us, I'm sure there's going to be links to find out more about us or schedule a demo. We can even build these segments for you live on your account using your own targets and constraints. So while our templates cover most of the things that you're going to need, so these proven strategies ready to deploy and are going to save you hours every week, you could stop there and you're going to be in a better shape than most people manually managing their accounts. But every account has those edge cases. Every agency has those different SOPs. So different product launches, seasonality, hero products, different margins, or just strategies that you use that are unique to your business. That's where our AI Copilot comes in. And this is where our Copilot comes in. You describe what you want in plain English, and it's going to write this segment logic inside that same framework. So it's not a black box. You can review it with what it builds, tweak it, and control the actions. And this is why Copilot works so well. It's generating logic within this structured system, not trying to analyze a huge spreadsheet or tens of thousands of different keywords at once to where it can get confused. This way the results stay consistent. It's just building that, helping you build that logic. And then it's also explainable to every single segment that's created either through our template library or with the Copilot is going to follow very similar structure where it's going to have your settings up top to make it very easy to adjust, whether across your accounts or just make small tweaks, as well as having built-in diagnostics that are going to show what the reason and result is for every item. So again, they're consistent and explainable. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. Now, let's say we have our bid management segment here, and this one works pretty well for just right out of the box for most sellers. But let's say you want to add a click-through component to it. You really like click-through. You want to boost bids on anything that's getting good click-through rate. We can make adjustments to it. So this will be a simple example of how we can use a Copilot. It's just making adjustments to our existing templates. So we could say something like, help me add click-through rate to the segment to boost bids more when it's good. And I'm just going to paste the logic and let it do its thing. And as it goes, it's going to give you advice. We've trained this on just all of our experience with running Amazon ads. So there's built-in advertising expertise, which is another great benefit of it. I'll show you here shortly what that looks like as well. But it walks through what the strategy is, going to explain what it's looking to do. And again, this is live with our Copilot. So it is going to change depending on, anybody that's used AI with new models and so forth, where the results are going to change. So this will be different probably every time we ask it exactly what it's going to do, but the end results going to be similar, where it's going to give us options to make adjustments to our segment logic there and what to do next. So we could just kind of say add, I don't read through exactly what it's wanting us to do, but it's going to add a click-through rate weighted cap so it doesn't push past CPC loans. Okay, sounds great. Looks like it's giving us some different options to do that. So we can use this to modify just our existing ones and create a full new segment, or we can also do it from scratch. Let's say let's start. Maybe you don't even really know what to do. You're kind of new to Amazon ads. You're not really sure what to do. What if we take, this is where the advertising experience that can help guide you in what to even look for, what kind of analysis or segments to even create. And let's just take this account looking at this month here. I'm just going to take a screenshot because I'm not really sure what to do. I'm just going to give it our metric comparing month over month, and we're going to start a new chat here. And paste the screenshot in. My sales are down. It's January. What should I look for to analyze my campaigns? And it's going to give us suggestions based on all the advertising experience that we've trained into and just Amazon best practices in general, and give us recommendations on what to build. We could take these suggestions and build new segments out of it and then use them across all of our accounts.
I feel it's not running out of options what to analyze and what to do, right? But how would you now choose as a next step? Because obviously it came out with like 8 kind of main insights, I would say, with some separate recommendations to think about or look at. So how would you approach it now?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to depend on how you prompt it. It's only going to be as good as the data that we give it. So if you're comfortable using AI already, you've been using it for a while, you kind of know this. It's only going to be as strong as what we're giving it. So the more information we can give it, I kept it pretty broad just on purpose, just like what do we even do? And it's going to break down different options. And again, this is going to change just based on the day and models being used and so forth. But we've trained it to always give you some next steps of what to do. So in this case, we could have it build an impression recovery bid strategy for January. We can have it jump right into what its recommendations are or continue to work with it. And this is really how we see AI. You're not just kind of giving it the reins. It's more of a collaboration partner to take that strategy that's in your head and bring it out into Merchjar so you can actually do analysis or perform automations that weren't possible otherwise. And so you don't have to spend hours writing all this sophisticated logic yourself. You can do that if you want to, but the way we've built this logic system is that computers are really good at working with this language. It's a language for computers, and that's what makes it so strong and be able to write this really sophisticated logic. So now we have a new segment here as it's finishing up that we can use to, in this case, increase impressions. So we can copy this in, and now we have a new segment we can use, and we can continue to work with this too. If we want to make any changes to it, if we want to introduce, different settings or whatever it is that we want, we can now go back and forth with ChatGPT. Let's incorporate some kind of click-through rate element or CPC targets or max bids, whatever makes sense. We can work with it, and it's going to again give us some optional next step that we can take. We can expand this or modify the logic or just approve it as is. And so it's really going to be really open to your interpretation or what's possible with this AI. Given the sandbox nature, it's really open-ended and the sky's the limit. So the purpose I'm going to go, this is not going to be an exhaustive demo of everything that's possible with AI. It's just we'd be here for weeks and weeks, and quite frankly, we don't even know what all the possibilities are yet. As I continue to come up with new ways to use it as I go. So I just wanted to really demonstrate some of those possibilities and how you can use it. So it can be used if you're sort of newer to Amazon advertising, or you just want to get feedback or get some outside insight into your ads and some ideas. You can use it for that, or you can use our template library to just start off with our core templates, and you're going to be running ads better than anyone that's manually doing them. And then the Copilot comes in for that, really kind of like 20% or so, those edge cases or those, really unique situations, whether it's modifying the existing stuff to, bring your own flavor to it or building stuff from scratch. But now that we have this segment, I'm just going to call this demo brush and recovery. So now we have a new segment we can use. And what's great about this is that you're really building assets. Once you build a segment, it becomes an asset to your brand or agency. So you're not solving the same problem again next week or next month, or even across different accounts. Every single segment can be exported from the account and imported into any other of your marketplaces. So you're building these assets that you can reuse the same logic and refine them over time and use them across all of your accounts. And as a brand or as an agency, that creates consistency across your different account managers. You're not leaving it up to just what the skill set of is a certain one. You can enforce your SOPs or strategy that you're using. So let's continue on with some other examples. So in this example here, we just gave it a screenshot. So, and really, I want to demonstrate with that just, any way you use AI now is possible. We can upload spreadsheets to it, screenshots, go back and forth and ask for advice. All these things are possible. I want to show a couple other examples for that. And I'm going to do this much as one example of this sandbox that's really useful is the ability to compare different date ranges together, which can be really difficult if you're doing it manually, or even these rule-based automation engines just don't have access to be able to look at two different date ranges at the same time, two or more even. With our sandbox nature, it's possible. So let's say this is a really simple use case, but show me search terms that sold in the last week for the first time. So I'm going to find newly sold search terms. So I would expect this, to look at the last week of data for search terms and then compare to all, before that, it doesn't have any orders, something along those lines. And this is just a real simple comparison. We could use this for, maybe, these are emerging winning search terms that could then be turned into keywords, or we just want to see, what's new, what's new that hadn't sold previously. And it's going to bring us just a real simple filter that we can copy, bring it over to Mershar, and now we can look at search terms and paste it in here. And now we have 23 newly sold search terms that had never sold before in the last week on this particular account. If there's something we wanted to do with this, in this case, we could create exact match negatives. Probably not the case for this one, but now we have that short list of search terms that we can, in this case, maybe it's potentially creating new keywords out of. So that's another example. And if we take, if we're looking at multiple date range, when it comes to the bid management, just the logic that's built into these templates offhand and what our Copilot is trained off of is very sophisticated. Again, it's more than just those simple rule-based tools where it's if ACoS is high and the lower bids, that misses a lot of nuance. We're bringing down the list of keywords. Like, for example, we're looking at multiple time periods, 4 different time periods, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, and always use this. The logic is built so it's always using the most relevant date range based on the data volume. So we're not looking at 7 days if there's not enough data to support it. And then cooldown periods that are associated with those date ranges. So we're not adjusting bids too often. So there's all kinds of different date ranges in here. This one alone is using 8-9 different date ranges, along with different things like changing the bid based on how far it is away from target. And that's going to be variable. The larger change is going to happen if it's further away from target. It's going to be a smaller change if it's closer to target. So it's trained on this sophisticated logic that we can do some really interesting things. And this is where I really say it's kind of sky's the limit. So another example, and this utilizes multiple date ranges, but also historical data, which I think is something that is a big miss for a lot of sellers, where if they don't have a tool that's storing their advertising data over time, you lose that with Amazon. You lose your search term data after 65 days. If you're not saving those search term reports, you can't go back and see what search terms were sold for a certain keyword. You can't look at specific date ranges of when it's more than 95 days ago in your Amazon ad console. So you lose a lot of data. With Mershar, we store your advertising data over time. So the longer you use the service, the more data we have. And this is really useful when it comes to like seasonality. Like, let's say I have a lot of seasonal products that are fairly flexible throughout the year. So I'm going to have Halloween or Christmas or, Father's Day. So all these different kinds of time periods of the year where you're going to experience different seasonality. We could create a segment to help handle some of that seasonality. And I create a quick little prompt here, but the idea behind this is I have a lot of seasonal products and I want to be proactive with the upcoming season and that I'm moving into. So these next 30 days and see what keywords or targets or maybe campaigns I want to look at or search terms that performed well last year during this time period and the previous year. So I'm looking at 2 previous years to predict what the upcoming 30 days will look like and if I need to make bid adjustments to that. So that's kind of like asking for a lot. Like if you're trying to build that yourself with the existing tools, you need a tool that's going to be saving your data, or you need to be exporting those spreadsheets together. You got to combine those reports into a single spreadsheet. It's honestly like it would be a very difficult thing to do that. This becomes pretty trivial using our Copilot to create this advanced logic that it's going to do for us, including these diagnostics that it's writing here to tell us why, and to create a new strategy that we can use all across our accounts. And we can see here it's looking at 335 days ago to 365 days ago. So last year and the same period 2 years ago as well. And this is something we could then work back and forth with. It's going to give us some next steps just built in as suggestions. So we can just come up with what it came, first draft, or if we want to continue tweaking it, which is sort of my typical use case. I don't always just take, first pass what it comes back with. For demo purposes, we're just kind of keeping this pretty quick, but I want to just stress that it is more of that collaboration. It's this human and AI collaboration, not letting it just run everything. You're really working together to come up with the analysis or strategy. So it's not just automation. This is also just analysis. Like this could be just finding what those search terms are. So suggesting, for example, we could use ROAS as a ACOS or adjust seasonal buffer. We could go through here, and I'm not going to do it at this time, but just, try to make this even more sophisticated or fit our needs even better. But as is, it's looking at the last couple of years, and going to give us bid recommendations for the stuff that performed during this upcoming season that we can make adjustments to. And as you go, you're going to build out your segments that, again, are those company assets, whether as a brand or agency. So as you have turnover with new account managers, you can enforce this logic and really just spend more time on that higher level strategic thinking, not in the weeds of just the tedious daily work of making the bid adjustments, gating search terms. All that's automated for you, and you can spend more of that time on strategy. And that's really the idea. These segments are these living short lists, keywords that need bid adjustments, budget management. The use cases are endless, and the ability to add actions to these segments, like in the case of budget management or bid management, it's going to adjust those automatically for you. It makes them executable. So you have these short lists that have explicit actions you can take today. You're not hunting and searching for what you need to do. It's giving it to you right there. And our template library is going to give you the 80% of the stuff you should be doing. It's going to automate that out of the box without any adjustments. So if you're looking for an easy button, that's the way to go. And then when you need more, our Copilot comes in, lets you customize or build your new ones fast inside of a framework that you can trust and see everything that's going on, full transparency. So yeah, if you're spending $10,000 or more a month on ad spend, you want to stop rebuilding the same analysis over and over, messing with reports, book a demo. And on the demo, we're going to do a few different things. We'll identify the highest leverage short lists that we can use on your account and build at least one of them live while you're on the demo with us using your own targets, constraints, needs. And then we'll automate it with a workflow, and you can run it manually first and then schedule it later. And yeah, book a demo with us and we'll turn your workflow into reusable playbooks. So that is our AI Copilot and how it works with our segments feature.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Cameron, for the overview. It was very interesting to see these different elements of the tool and the features. I think the template library is also a great thing to get sellers started and to kind of ignite what they could do with AI Copilot as well. Probably my first question is that when a person would sign up, first of all, actually, I wanted to mention about the demo call. I also recommend to check out the link in the video description below. We have a good offer also to test MergeJar out. And while you want to book the demo, also mention that you came from this video, then Cameron and the team also knows and will definitely look into your case as Cameron was just explaining to us. But let's imagine I now signed up for MergeJar. So what would you say, what would be the first steps once I open up my own dashboard or like what do you recommend to do to get like overwhelmed with everything? Because probably, I mean, I got pretty excited about the possibilities. So I would be like, okay, I'm going to ask this and this and this, and I want to do this and this and this. But like, what would be like a general first approach to kind of set the account up in the right way?
Yeah. So when you set up your account, usually it's going to walk you through some onboarding steps to set, your basics. And part of that's going to be just the general account settings, like your default target ACoS that you're going to use. That field gets used across a lot of different automations. That's how we're going to know how close to target your existing keywords and campaigns are, and those adjustments are made accordingly. So that walks you through during the onboarding. And then from there, it's really using the templates that make sense. That's why we have our advanced core template. Just all 5 of these just on the account are going to do most of the things that you should be doing. If you're not, and if you're already doing them, it's going to save you tons of time. So it's going to handle the bid management, never have to touch budgets again. It's going to automatically increase those if they're constrained and have high utilization while meet certain ACoS thresholds, or right size them if the budgets are way inflated and it's not spending anywhere close to that. You'll never have to touch budgets again. So it's going to be all your core basic, I wouldn't say basic, but your
fundamentals, kind of like fundamentals.
That's
exactly.
a good word. Yeah. These are the things you need to be doing. And if you just left it at that, you're going to be doing okay. Now with anything, like you still want eyes on things. When it comes to just exploring Merchart, once you start that, just going through our ad manager, which is where it brings all your account data into one place. So all your keywords, targets, you can add simple filters on here. So this would be like those, kind of rule-based sort of features that everyone's familiar with, adjust the, columns and so forth, but really just exploring your data and seeing what's there. I see that with, if you haven't used tools like this before, you've only used like Amazon advertising tools, it's hard to see all your data in one place. Like being able to see every single keyword across my account in one single place is super convenient. And we have a lot of users that really do things manually. They're okay not doing the automations. They just, every week they have their save filters set up and do their own manual optimizations. But this is just a good way to get familiar with your data if you haven't already, and even using it for ideas of what to create from segments in the first place. I'll start with some filters, and as soon as I want something a little bit more advanced that I can't quite get from my ad manager, so I want to compare different date ranges, or just create my own like custom calculated properties or something like that, that's where segments is going to come in. And that's where I'm always starting with the AI Copilot. I don't write my own either. I gave that up a long time ago because the AI is just so much better at that sort of work. And it comes up with things it would take me weeks or years, if ever I could even come up with it. So really just start exploring, use the Copilot, come up with different ideas beyond that, or explore a template library for other ideas outside of our just core. We have things like anomaly detection and different analysis, or setting your bids to your target CPC. There's different ways you can use that too. And this is going to be growing as we add new functionality and just create our own templates. These are all expertly put together blueprints to run your business. And then the Copilot for anything that, for your own unique needs.
Okay, very good. And on which Amazon markets does the tool work with? US probably for sure, but what about the other main markets?
All of them. Anything that support, any advertising marketplaces, we support them all.
Okay, perfect. Because we have international people watching us all the time.
Absolutely.
So
we support them as well.
So it's good to know that wherever you're selling or wherever from you're selling, then definitely go over also to Merchart to learn more about all the features and check it out, because as I said, we're also going to have a special offer for you. So click on the link in the video description below, and I'm more than sure that if you have any questions, then you can also leave them under the video as comments, because then we can ask Cameron to come back and also answer those. So Cameron, thanks again for taking the time to really show us what you can do with the Merchart and the AI Copilot. And as you said, it's just a starting point, just the beginning. We could probably spend hours and hours and hours here to demonstrate more different things and different angles sellers could take. But therefore, I'm also excited to see you soon again on our channel to cover another angle, another idea, what sellers could do to run their Amazon ads more effectively. So thanks again, and see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
I hope this video will help you to automate your Amazon PPC workflows and save hours of manual work. If you want to try MergeJar yourself, you'll find the link in the video description below. And also don't forget to hit like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy our content, and leave comment below in the comment section if you have additional comments or questions. And now I recommend you to watch another video where you will learn more advertising strategies you can implement right away. So check this out.